call the meeting to order. We've got all members here tonight. Additions to the agenda, we have numbers 4 and 5 under roundups, and we've got number 7 under informational reports. Anything else?
Yeah.
Okay. Those additions, I entertain a motion to adopt. Motion for Cheryl, second for Mark. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. District 741 is proud of. Good job and congratulations to the FFA teams who competed in the region contests. Their team took first place for the 5th year in a row and 6 times in the last 7 years and will advance to state. Team members Anthony Rutland, 10th grade, placed 2nd. John Frenchik, 12th grade, placed 3rd. Kyle Willowbring, 10th grade, placed 5th. Tyler Evelyn, 12th grade, placed 9th. And Tanner Schaefer, 10th grade, were on the team. Abby Molitor, in 11th grade, also judged. Sawyer Evelyn, 9th grade, placed 6th individually as a dairy handler and will also be advancing to state. The Ag Mechanics team placed 4th, qualified for state. Team members were Andy Lensmeyer, 9th grade, placing 9th. Brady Terrace, 11th grade. Brad Butch, 10th grade. John Schaefer, 10th grade. And Corey Dowell, 9th grade. The Fish and Wildlife team placed 6th and unfortunately did not qualify for state. Team members were Andrew Henderson, 12th grade, placing 8th individually. Alex Wickham, 12th grade. And Dalton Flugman, 9th grade. The FFA State Convention will be held April 28th through 30th in the cities. Congratulations to Jared Campbell, 7th grade, who qualified for the state level competition in geography team. Jared is the first student who won our school competition and scored high enough on a written test to advance to the state level competition. Students of Excellence is the program set up through Resource Training Solutions to honor their member school district's top seniors. Our teachers vote for the seniors chosen for this honor. They consider academic excellence, positive involvement in our school community, leadership, and a drive to continue in their post-secondary program of study. This year's awards for Paynesville Area High School goes to Kellen Anderson, Kayla Ryman, Rachel Rittenhouse, Anna Kearns. Congratulations to the FFA Livestock Pledging Team, placing 3rd regions and advancing to state. Team members were 9th graders Callie Kramer, placing 7th, Tiffany Sherber and Paul Peter Waltz, 11th grader, Taylor House, and 12th grader Hope Waltz. Alex Whitcomb, grade 12, will play 2nd as the talent contestant at the FFA Region Banquet. He will be singing at the state FFA Talent Contest. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anybody? Public comment today. Okay. Move on to item 7, approval of the corrected minutes from March 26, 2013 regular board meeting. Motion by Deb, and a second by Bruce. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have 3 items on the consent agenda. I don't know if there's any comments to be made or any questions on those items.
These are all typical things as far as we have to have somebody that goes to the Title I programs and through the application and executing it. Approval, just negotiate that we need to do. And consider approval of diplomas. All of these are regular yearly things that the board has approved in the past.
So moved.
Okay, then a motion by Deb and a second by Bruce.
Those all three at the same time?
Yep, we can do all consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. No items under business, so move to personnel. And number 1 is to review and consider a request by Amy Jo Gaby, foreign language teacher, to take a 1-year unpaid general leave of absence for the 13-14 academic school year.
If the board members have read the information in the addendum, that pretty much explains it. I am recommending that we approve this. I think it will certainly help her with her certifications and help us in the end. But I would recommend that we approve it under the condition that we approve as long as we find somebody suitable to replace her. If we can do that, then I certainly feel that it's appropriate. And this has been discussed with her. When she brought the letter to me, we did have a discussion, and Laura and I have certainly talked about this also, so.
So can you make the motion that we'll approve it as long as we find a replacement?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's what I'll do.
That's your motion? That's Deb's motion.
I'll second it.
And a second by Cheryl. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And number 2, review and consider approval of the following athletic assignment for the 12-13 school year. 8th grade softball co-coaches Jackie Zublin and Kayla Youngs.
The reason this is coming down the way, and correct me if I'm wrong next, but it's just that the coaches cannot make it every day. One of the coaches can make it 4 days a week because the class cannot make it the 5th day, and that's when the other coach will take over. It won't cost the district anymore. They will share the salaries, so in essence, it's the same way, only we have to have 2 coaches doing it. One of them still has to get a background check. Until that's accomplished, that person will not be on the field. Anything else, Max, on that? Pretty much
No,
it?
so, I mean, it's advantageous to the district because we're gonna have 2 coaches for 4 of the 5 days a week. So, and they're aware of that they'll be splitting the pay for their own position.
And the other nice thing is too, is that it does give experience to coaches and possibly later maybe give us 2 coaches for 2 different teams if we need them, so.
How many applicants were there for the position?
That was it?
That was it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Mark. And a second by Kellogg. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we're on to reports already. Lori.
My first. I'd like to share with the board, one thing we've done in the past, and to get the nod from the board to start looking for a person for the position is through targeted services again. We'd like to offer the summer boot camp for our incoming 7th graders and incoming 8th graders. Those of you that are new on the board, our summer boot camp is a program where we focus on those kids that receive 40 to a 49 on their MCA test for math or reading, which is at the partially meets. And it's our way of trying to fill in those holes. We do it in August prior to the start of the next school year. So the teacher that's in charge of that would look at how they did on their tests and kind of create curriculum for that smaller group. Usually it's about 15 that come to that camp, and they go 2 hours, and it's been a good experience for the kids and for helping their scores become better the following year. So we'd like to offer that program this summer through targeted services. The other program we'd like to offer, and this would be a new one, Doug kind of opened it up, Doug Millway through West Central Ed, that through an Acellus program, if you've seen Mr. Rasmussen's website where he does his videos of the lessons, it would be, the Acellus program is an online program that has taped videos of the lesson, and then everything is within the online program as far as the assignments and the tests and all that. So we need one teacher to facilitate multiple curricular areas. So if we would have 6 or more students come in, they could do credit recovery, which would be kids that need to take more credits than we can fit in during what they have left during their high school time. So instead of having them to go up to Melrose ALC during the summer, they could stay here in town and take it through this online program with a teacher that we would have for that position here at school. So it would save on transportation. We do not transport students in the summer to the ALC. It's up to their parents to get them up there to go follow through with that program. So I think it would be advantageous for our students, certainly more convenient for our students to have a program like this here in Paynesville.
And we also have a little more control of it also.
What's the cost for that?
It's dollars that come in through the targeted services.
So this
that-
one's covered with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be a targeted services program too. And Doug has assured me that if we have a minimum of 6 kids, it would pay for the teacher's time to do the program. So,
Now, do we transport for the Beacon program?
they do transport for the students that are involved
Then
in.
you couldn't make
the
that
Beacon.
same
There are
amount?
different times. The credit recovery for the Melrose program
Mhm.
is in June and
Oh, I
like
see, different times.
mid-July. And that Beacon program is more that August time. So they're different times.
Are you getting any interest from the students?
We have talked to 4 or 5, and they definitely would rather take something here in town. But we haven't brought it to, all of the kids yet that would need the credits. Jackie's starting to do the junior credits for next year, now that we're getting into that scheduling time. So, but having it available would be advantageous, I think.
Yeah, because getting rides to Melrose is always
As a hassle. I mean, I try to hook parents up and do the carpooling thing and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. The fallback is you have the student retake that course the last year, but at some point, there's only so much time and, it would give them another option. So, those would be the 2 things that, if you're okay with us moving ahead, as long as we have the numbers of students to make the program work, we'd like to go ahead with it. Okay. The other things is we have started our MCA testing today with our middle schoolers math online, and the kids were working really hard. The other thing is next week when we have our 2 big days, where our 9th grade and our 10th grade, our 9th, 10th, and 11th grade will all be testing on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we have a great day set up for the seniors in the morning while the rest of the kids are testing. We have Chris Stanley and Diane Codette coming over from the credit union to have a financial discussion on running their own finances, budgeting, credit cards, all of those financial, fraud, all those different things that they can get caught up into. Then we also have Jen Andrus and Jackie Campbell are going to do a stress and relaxation program with them to, how to handle that stress when they leave home and they're on their own jobs or at college. And then we have a gentleman coming in to talk about interviewing skills and kind of going through what to expect, how to prepare, what do you do following an interview. So we think it's going to be a good time for those seniors while the rest of the high school is testing. So we were kind of excited to put that together. And I think that's all I have, unless you have something for me, a question. Really proud of our kids. It's wrapping up to be a good year.
Yeah, thanks, Lori. Dave, Orla.
I just have a couple of things. We, first of all, we had our Jump Rope for Heart fundraiser today that we do, I think every other year, every third year. And this year we did it differently. We did it during the school day. So every student in the school had a chance to participate and earn a prize. And we had, Bill Verant and John Kiefler do all the legwork with that. So I'd like to thank them for that. And we have a lot of volunteers. We had some parents there. We had a number of high school peer mentors that were there helping today. I saw Linda in there helping. We couldn't get Bob to do any jump roping today. Maybe next time.
I already get my body after you're on.
And then we also are beginning our MCA testing tomorrow with reading, and that will just be staggered throughout the next 5 weeks. And tried to work on different strategies. We're breaking students into small groups, and we've got a number of different people proctoring the tests, and so we're hoping to continue the success that we had last year and work on meeting the goals in our school improvement plan. So, any questions for me?
Okay, thanks, Dave. Matt?
Yeah. Just a reminder, the talent showcase, the community talent showcase is this Sunday at 5:30. There's quite a few new acts and that should be a good show. That's our one main fundraiser for the auditorium and program and equipment fund. We're busy planning our summer brochure and program. That'll be mailed out May 4th. There's quite a few new offerings in there this year. We have had a recent request to explore bringing back our school-age childcare program due to possible new legislative changes. Deb, you probably know more about that than...
Yeah.
Does that sound like that's going to be this year that these changes, or is it something?
I would say probably.
Probably this legislative session.
Yeah, because there doesn't seem to be a, yes, I do believe that they'll go through this year.
Okay, okay. So with that request, you know, we had the program for a few years and just kind of lost money each year, and it just didn't take off. So we're kind of just exploring. We're in the survey stage right now, and just to see if there's enough need and enough. But I think some of that's going to happen if these legislative changes. I think they're going to really affect local providers, is my understanding.
Yes, it's all over the state. I
Okay.
think you're going to see more and more. I don't know as if you'll have so much with school-age kids. I think the schools are going to get more pressure to have just flat-out daycare, period.
Okay.
You know, small rural places like this are going to need centers because the ratios are really different.
Okay.
So there's, and now Paynesville, and we normally have, and a lot of people don't know this, we have anywhere from 16 to 19 operating daycares all the time. And any of you that have tried to place someone recently, they're normally all full, and most of them have a waiting list. And they're changing the ratio so there's less, you can have less number of preschool kids and less numbers, period. And less kids, it's just follow the money, you know, then costs go up, so, or else there's a lot, I think there's, I was told there was at least 4 that are retiring this year, or just canceling out this year, because the licensors that come to our homes are pretty certain that this will go through this year.
Okay. So I just wanted to make the board aware that we are exploring that and to see if that is a need and that we could fill.
Since I'm not in daycare, give me an idea of the range of the kids. Are we talking kids that are first grade, fourth grade stuff?
Well, the school-age childcare program was a K through 5 that we had in the past. Some districts are in the area, Belgrade, Kimball, I think Albany does this. Some are moving into the actual daycare, and they're combining their daycare into preschool
Yeah.
options.
Because and that's the other thing, that's why I said you might want to pay attention to that, because that's another area that they think they will get funding or change in funding is to the not like the pre-kindergarten, but the early like birth to, that there's a lot more, that there's going to be money put towards that.
Early childhood.
Early childhood, there
I
you
think
go.
is what you're.
And so, yeah, there's lots of discussion about, you know, they have daycare at school, the kids are already there, and they're already familiar with the people, and you can start the programs, and, yeah.
Which opens up a whole another issue of space concerns and all of that stuff. So, but we are just exploring that. It's a big undertaking to put a program together and continue it. So we're not, since something we're just going to jump into, but if it's something a need, you know, that we could fill, we'll.
But even with just a school age is what we did here, I think you're gonna find there is more need for it, because the legislature, it affects the numbers of kids that each daycare can have.
Right.
So you take 2 out of every daycare right there's 32 kids that don't have a place.
And it's interesting in the survey we're doing, you know, we're asking if they need the service and then what they currently do, and a lot of the respondents, they go to grandparents, they go home, you know, by themselves, and so it's.
That's the scary part, is how many kids and how young they are when they start staying home by themselves.
Yeah. And some of it, by the time they get off the bus, it's maybe only half hour, 45 minutes, or it's an hour. So it's kind of really seeing if it would go, so. And then episode 11 of BNC TV will be out this Friday, so. Any questions for me? Okay, thanks.
So next is here. Next.
Yeah, this has been kind of a crazy week. It doesn't look like we'll really get to kick off spring for another week. Last week I was in St. Cloud at the spring AD convention. I had an opportunity to go to a number of sessions that were pretty impactful. One of them on evaluations of programs, all the way from facilities to space, coaches, anything from the programs offering was pretty interesting to listen to, and that was instructed by Craig Perry, who's one of the directors at the State High School League. Also another one that was pretty popular was just social media use through high school sports and promotion of activities, and or seems to be some of the latest uses of that is just like a ticker of scores, so people can follow Paynesville Bulldogs or something like that, then they'd be able to follow and get all the sports updates, scores, halftime scores, anything like that. So that's something that I think that we really want to see if there's some way that we can use. Currently my flip phone from the 1990s isn't going to get that job done, but this coming Wednesday we have our Spring West Central Conference AD meeting. A couple weeks ago we had the administrative meeting, and there's really only changes was some clarification on junior high sports participants and things, how we're going to structure those games. What we're finding out is within our conference, within the teams that would play, there's such a change between the number of teams or the number of programs that each sport offers. You know, that less than half of the schools within our conference have a 9th grade baseball team. Some of the schools only have combined 7th and 8th grade, either baseball or softball teams, and so it's creating some issues as far as scheduling and getting opportunities for the schools that do have larger participation numbers. I had passed out fall and winter participation numbers. I'm waiting on some of the conference schools to get the spring ones back. So far for the fall and the winter, our participation numbers have been higher towards the high end of the conference, and I just don't have enough numbers back for the spring yet to get that to you, but I will. Also, there's been discussion as far as our conference gymnastics meet and whether or not we might partner with another conference to make that a larger meet. We're finding out is the expense to run that meet is really high, and there's 5 teams in our conference, and it's not very well attended, and there's a couple area conferences that we might be able to partner together to make that a better meet for our athletes that are participating in it. Currently we have coaching openings in boys head, JV, and 9th grade basketball, as well as head volleyball coaching positions, and those are open with the April 26th or 22nd deadline. Team Up, our organization, which is the group that helped with Jump Rope for Heart, also gearing up to help for the elementary school field days. So there's a number of student-led organizations in our high school that help all throughout the district, do a great job. A lot of our students I anticipate are going to be missing some class this spring. We already lost 2 softball games. One of the baseball games that got rescheduled was, actually it was a softball game moved up to 4:30 because of the opponent has a choir concert that night, and in order to get done and get all, right now, any rescheduled event for softball is going to either be cancellation or turn into a doubleheader. We don't have any more open, or a Wednesday or Saturday, so we haven't even begun playing, and it's pretty crazy already. So do our best to put that together and communicate all the changes, but we'll make the spring go by fast when it finally gets here. So I don't know if anybody has any questions for me.
Let's see, go to Lou's facility and equipment.
And in addition, it's a little unfair that we really hadn't given Lou a lot of warning that we do that.
Yeah, I didn't notice. Well, we met yesterday morning and into the afternoon. Talked about the 5-year plan, mostly concentrated on the upcoming year, talked about the roofs and repairs needed, or what, where we should go with them, which ones we should do. We talked about the boilers and the flooring, just everything that we do every year. It's anything different. I don't know what to add to it. We just talked about it and talked about our tractors, lawn equipment, snow blowing equipment, new van, and that type of thing.
I would certainly say that our discussion was that we have a lot of things that we really do need to do,
A lot.
and we have a limited amount of money, so we will have to prioritize that. So now that we've had a lot of discussion, I'll be putting a sheet together again for the committee, and we'll be with all the changes and all the additions and some of the costing for it, and then we're going to have to go through and make a final decision on how much, because we do need to have some in a reserve fund there, just in case something happens here and there, and that's always the scary thing. If you have too little and something major happens, you can be in deep trouble with that, and then have to take it out of the general fund in order to cover it. So you do want to leave enough in there so you're comfortable if an emergency occurs that you can take care of it. So now we need to prioritize and make final decisions about what we're going to recommend for pieces that we would take care of off the capital dollars. So that's kind of the next step of that.
That is cool. Okay, all right. I'll move to admin box.
Well, it's April, and tomorrow morning I expect to get up bright and early to see what's happening with the weather. I truly thought I was past this. Who would have guessed it? Winter warning for tonight and kind of through Thursday, so who knows what's going to happen. It was kind of, there were a number of school closings even today that got out early, and I'm grateful that we didn't hit any snow. But who knows what's going to happen over the night. So stay tuned. Just informational, just be aware that District 741 and the Long Lakes Conservation Foundation are being sued for a situation that took place in 2008, 2009 during the winter camp. That's the 6th grade camp that we take all our 6th graders to and have for ever.
I think we're at 36 years.
Yeah. So anyway, a situation took place there that the plaintiffs feel there was negligence on the part of the school district and on part of the Long Lake Conservation Foundation. It is covered by our insurance carrier. The major or the maximum liability the district would be out of would be $10,000. That would be the maximum liability based on our insurance policy. You could certainly go anywhere up to that, but that's the maximum that it is. Lori and I were talking, we believe that this was tried in the criminal courts, and Paynesville was not found to be liable for anything, but now it is going to the civil courts, and their way to look at things it can be different than the other court. So now we just need to wait and see. It's kind of playing out. Lori and I, particularly Lori, has spent an awful lot of time putting together information for the attorney that has been hired by our insurance company. So we're not out of any attorney fees or anything like that. It's really, if we were found to be negligent, it would be the award that would be given to the plaintiff from our part anyway, up to $10,000. Certainly the insurance company could pay out more, but our maximum liability is $10,000. So now we just need to wait and see and let it play out. Like I said, this occurred a number of years ago, so it's evidently the wheels turn slowly. So, any questions at this point? Otherwise, we'll just all fill the board and then the community as things unravel for us. Right now, we're just putting information together and getting it to our attorney. I'll be going to another meeting on the new health insurance regulations that we're going to have. That's, I think, on Thursday in Marshall. Every time I go to one of these meetings, I continue to come up with more questions than I have come up with answers. So, we'll just have to wait and see. You know, there's kind of a rumor out there that they're going to kind of put things back a year now for us to put things in, but it's going to be something that we're going to need to continue to talk about because it could, depending on how it shakes out, have a pretty major impact financially for the district. So I'll continue to fill you in. Facilities, you know, we're going over the capital budget. I think one of the things that we started to talk about was the boilers and other things, whether we should fix them or not. I think one of the things that I'd like to set up probably sooner than later, maybe even next week if I can find a time on the part of the board as a work session, to start the discussion about our needs, our facility needs. The kind of the discussion where Jay, John's controls ended, I think we need to start, and I think we need to have a discussion on where we want to start with that. So you're going to be, unless there's some issues with the board, I would like to have a work session on that. Possibly, we have a couple other things coming up. We still need to look at the naming of the facility, so we need to have that discussion. A few other items that have come up. Safety now would be a discussion on whether we want to do anything additional than what we're doing now, so that would be another piece that we could add in. When I set the work session, I'll set an agenda that I believe we can get done within an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours maximum. If there's times that you cannot meet, absolutely, if you could send me just an email on that, and I'll work around that and try to set a time and place that we can all get together to start the discussion. Like I said, this first meeting is more just to revisit where we're at with it and start talking about what we want to collect, what we don't want to collect, where we want to go from here, really is what it is. Main reason we need to do it probably sooner than later is because depending on our thoughts on that, it would depend on whether we looked at fixing how much the boiler system. Either way, I would say we need to fix 3 tubes anyway from what I'm hearing, but if we decide that we're not going to go down that route, then we might want to retube the whole boiler in the elementary school, for instance. That could make a difference of $1,600 if we just retube for the ones that are leaking to $16,000 to retube them all. All right, so that's why one of the reasons I think we need to go down this road and at least start the discussion now. All right, any questions on that particular piece? Okay, enrollment is staying pretty stable. We're down 1 from the start of the school year, but in previous years they've been down considerably at this time of the year. So good news and bad news. We haven't gained, but we've stayed pretty stable with a higher enrollment than we had projected in the first place. So that's really is good news. So enrollment's good. Fundraisers, just a couple reports to the district. The girls basketball sold pizzas and raised $1,157.20. And the FFA on their test plot had a profit after revenue and expenditures of $5,988.68. And I think you'll hear more about this. The Alumni Association for FFA is going to be at our next meeting. If everything works out the way we believe it will, to just kind of give you an update on where the FFA is. May have some students here and all alumni to kind of talk about all this, so you'll hear more about that. One of the things that I'm going to send out to you when we talk about facilities, just something to think about, is Excel does have kind of a program right now for looking at facilities and going over them, and I'll send you some information on that. It just might be something, because I'll probably bring it up. I think once we take a look at it, we may decide to bring Excel and another organization in just to give a presentation on it. So, but I'll send this out to you this week, so that you can just take a look at it, read it, so that you're informed at least a little bit about it before we have the discussion at the work session. And that's, I think, about all I have. Any questions for me?
Okay. Is there anything else from anybody?